Hi everyone, so welcome to our extended part for high tea. So what I wanted to mention here was that this extended part will actually fit the next 3 blocks that I do in this series, okay? So you'll be able to mix and match them. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this could be a very noisy video because we have the South African National Defence Force visiting in our area, which is not very far from the beach. So they're doing flyovers with fighter planes and all sorts of other war related stuff, which I absolutely hate. But anyway, that's going to be happening. So if you hear a fighter jet going over, you'll know what that's about. Okay, I think they do this once a year. They do a big show, display. Anyway, so that's just going to add to the noise of my very noisy urban area where I live. So now, what I wanted to say as well was that each of the blocks that I'm making, so as you know, I'm making 4 of these large Afghan blocks, 20 inches by 20 inches, or around 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, and that they are all going to be finished off, framed off, is maybe a better word, in the same way, and they will have the same stitch count. So this is the reason why you'll be able to mix and match the extended parts. So you'll be able to use this square and use another extended part. You'll be able to use you'll be able to use different extensions on different squares, so you'll be able to mix and match, okay? But this is the one that is going to be extending specifically, this one for high tea, but as I say, you can use it for the other 4 blocks as well, all right? Now, and of course we are going to be extending our block into a throw, and the throw is going to measure approximately 1.25 meters around that, and that is about 50 inches, 50 by 50 inches. And if you want to make them bigger, if you want to extend them into a blanket rather than a throw, a decorative throw, and do a decorative bedspread, for example, then you can use the rounds from the extended parts. You can just continue using them to extend the size of your throw. And of course also you can use a worsted weight, iron weight yarn, and the appropriate hook size, which would be a 5 or a 6 hook. And then, but just remember, there's a lot of texture, so your blanket is going to get very, very heavy if the bigger you go. So now I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that you might want to know. Obviously you can go onto our Hooks and Tails pattern workshops page, and Nolene and all our wonderful helpful members will be there to assist you if there are some parts of the text pattern or even the video that you're not really understanding fully how that's working, because I do have a sort of a different way of doing things. Okay, so now we are going to be working in 2 colors. We're going to be using the Dokum, and so I'm just carrying on with the colorway that I was using for the block, for the high tea block, and I might change colors, but I will let you know about that if I do. If I run out of one of the colors that I used in the block, okay? So now we're using our 2 colors, which are Den Bosch, which is the pink one, and Dokum, which is the blue, that sort of denim blue that I like so much. So we're going to begin with the other thing, yes, very important. I'm going to be naming the rounds for the extended part from round 1 to wherever the extended part finishes, however many rounds there are, okay? So I'm not going to be calling this round 55. All right, so each of the squares will have 54 rounds. I'm going to ensure that the next 3 squares also have 54 rounds, and then that's the end of the square. And the extended parts are going to begin, because it's a separate component that you can add on, and that is going to be labeled, numbered from 1 to however many rounds that particular extension is. Okay, so when I say let's begin round 1, just forget about this. This is now finished. This is round 1 to round 54. The extended parts are round 1 to round however many rounds. I'm still not sure how many rounds until we reach 1 meter 25, okay, or 50 inches. So, and obviously it depends. It really depends on what we do. So, you know, I've kind of worked this all out on paper, but I don't have a sample piece for this. I normally have sample pieces for my squares, but I don't have a sample piece. And that's pretty much how I did a Munzie. I did it as a make along or a crochet along, and I did it in parts, and everyone followed along, and it actually worked out fine. Okay, so now we are going to begin on round, you can see that I've been drinking coffee here. We are going to begin into the last round of our square. Okay, so when I say this, it could be any square. It doesn't have to be the high T. You might be using this particular extended part for one of the other squares. All right, so now we're going to be working into the space between our corner 2 puffs. I hope I'm making sense. Please do go on over to our workshop page if I'm not making any sense at all. Okay, so I'm going to start with a standing single crochet, and then we're going to work 1, 2, 3, yarn over, chain 1 to close, puff. All right, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do that again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we're going to chain 1 again. So we're going to chain 1. Now, in the written pattern I say turn your work over. What I really mean is just flick it over so that you can see these front post stitches. All right, so they make a good marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip that first. We're going to be working into those stitches, those double crochets from round 53, all right? So we're working into those stitches, but we're going to use these stitches to mark where we need to go, so it makes it a lot easier to see. So now we're going to yarn over. We're going to skip the first stitch that we worked a half double crochet front post over, and we're going to work a double crochet front post over our second stitch, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach our next color. So I'm just trying. The trick also to make sure that your 2 colors, because you're working 2 colors all the way around each of our 4 sides, and the trick to making sure that your 2 colors don't get tangled is to make sure that you have a lot of play, you know, so just pull quite a lot of your yarn so that it's nice and loose, and if you have quite a big space to work or whatever, you can just let it trail, you know, like these long tails. And that way they don't seem to get tied up and in each other's faces and all tangled. So now we've attached our color B. So our color B is the Den Bosch and our color A is the Dokkum. So the first part of this is always a little bit awkward, but it does get much easier. Then we're going to skip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to refer to these as sort of posts, because it's much easier to see them as little posts standing like that. So we're going to skip our first post, and then we're going to work yarn over times 3 into our next 2 spaces. Okay, so like that. Right, Then you're just going to pull your color A. We're going to skip the next post and we're going to work a double crochet front post. Now all the time we're carrying along our 2 strands of yarn. You know, you're just going to hold them in your fingers like that, right? And then, right, we're going to attach our color B. We're going to yarn over, we're going to skip the next post and we're going to work, no, we're not going to work that. We're going to skip the next post and we're going to work our 1, 2, 3. And remember, we're also working over our yarn A like that. Then we're going to pull our yarn A forward, attach it, right, skip our next post and work a double crochet front post. Then we're going to bring our yarn B forward, right, we're going to skip the next post and we're going to work 1, 2, 3, yarn over times 3, and we're working over our color A, skip the next post, double crochet front post, attach color B, skip the next post, 1, 2, 3, work 1 puff into the next 2 spaces, and we're working into the tops of those, so we're working over the tops and between the stitches from round number 53. So basically round 54 are our final stitches and they're our front post stitches, these ones, that was our last round, so we're working into the previous round, right, into the top of those stitches. We're going to attach our color A, skip our next post, work a front post stitch, attach our color B, skip the next post, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the yarn's quite squeaky because it is absolutely sweltering. I told you I'd give you Cape Town weather updates. Well, today is sweltering and humid. Skip the next post, and of course because it's a front post stitch you can't really work over your color B, okay, but it comes along anyway. Attach our color B, skip the next post, 1, 2, 3, work yarn over times 3 with the squeaky yarn, 1, 2, 3, and of course acrylic, you know, tends to get like that when it's very hot. Now you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 sets of 2 puffs, right? And your puffs are yarn over times 3, chain 1. Now you're going to turn your work around like that, and this is just so you can find your spacing again. So you've got 1, 2, 3, all right? You're going to yarn over and you're going to work. You're not going to do that. You're first going to attach your color A. Then you're going to yarn over and then you're going to work double crochet front post over your treble front post, all right, from your round number 54, your last round. Okay, now we're not going to work our color B, all right, but it is going to come along. It's going to come along for the ride. Okay, so we're going to turn our work over again like that. You're going to count your 3 little stitches here, 1, 2, 3, those front posts, 1, 2, 3, the back strands, and we're going to work into that space over there. So we're going to yarn over, right, and then we're still working into those double crochets from round number 53, right, the previous to the last round, and we're going to work 2 times 3 double crochets together into that space, and we're working them over our color B. Then we're going to skip 3 posts or 3 legs, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to repeat. And again. 1, 2, 3. Right? And we're going to do this until we have 10 sets of 2 times 3 double crochets. So you're going to follow the exact same sequence. When you have 10 of those, I'll see you there. Okay? Okay, so here I've done our 10 sets of 2 times 3 double crochets together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we've skipped 3 little legs in between. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we've brought along our color B for the ride. So you're just going to pull that ever so slightly, okay, just to make sure it's nice and straight and you haven't got any little loops showing at the back there. Then we're going to yarn over, we're going to work a double crochet front post over our treble. We're going to attach again, do that treble front post, okay, so we're basically just mirroring the side that we did before. Then we're going to yarn over. We're going to count our 3 little stitches there. So we worked over here into the space between those 2 stitches, and now we're going to count 1, 2, 3, like that, right? And we're going to work our 1, 2, 3, puff, yarn over times 3 puff into the next space, 1, 2, 3, so into those 2 spaces. Going to pull our color A to the front, skip a leg, skip a leg, and attach. So we're going to do that double crochet front post. We're going to skip a leg, work into our next 2 spaces. 3. Okay, so now basically we're just going backwards. Right, we're just mirroring everything that we did before. 3. Okay, but I'm going to finish this whole side with you just so that you know exactly what you need to do. Skip a leg. Don't forget you're working over your yarns. 1, 2, 3. So in this case we are working over our color A. Right, yarn over times 3, chain 1 to close, and again 1, 2, 3. Okay, attach, skip, so skip, attach with a front post, attach, skip, work 2, 1, 2, work 2 puffs. And again, 1, 3, attach our color A, skip the next leg, right, attach color B, skip the next leg, work into our next 2 spaces. 2, 3, right. I haven't made a long enough tail, so I'm just keeping an eye on that it doesn't get all tangled. 1, 2, 3, right, attach your color A, skip a leg, attach your color B, work 1, 2, 3, right, almost there, 1, 2, 3, attach your color A into your next. So you skip a leg and then over the next one. So if you look behind, you'll see that you've attached your last double crochet front post over this stitch. So if you have a look there, the same stitch as you did your second last half double crochet front post from your previous to the previous round. So this is the last round. The stitch you're working into is round number 53, and this is round number 54. Okay, and then you have one left over like that, right? And then we're going to chain 1, yarn over. Now this time don't work over your color B, all right? And now you're going to work 1, 2, 3, yarn over time. So you've done your chain 1 and you've just dropped your color B like that, right? You've done yarn over time 3 puff into the space between your last 2 puffs from your last round from the square, yarn over times 3, chain 1, and now you're going to be working everything that we did on the other side. But now you're going to pick up your color B again. You're going to yarn over. You're going to find that second double crochet like that, and away you go. You're going to attach your color B, skip your next leg, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll do exactly what we did on our first side, from corner to corner all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that out like so. So your corner is going to look like that. You're going to have your little strand floating. Now if you don't want that floating strand, if you feel, you know, it's a little bit too untidy or it's going to bother you in some way, then do work it in. But you will see the little strand showing through the little holes here, and that is not a bad thing. That could also be just part of the design element like that. You'll see the little pink between your chain 1 spaces like that. So between your double crochet front post, so just below there, if you know what I mean. Okay, it'll show through like that. Okay, so but I'm doing it like this, so I'm quite happy with that. Alright, so just going to turn this around. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so now you're just going to work your way all the way around, and when you get to your first puff, you're going to have done your last double crochet front post, your single crochet, your single chain 1, and then you're just going to slip stitch into the top of your first puff and fasten off. And that is the first round of our extended part for high tea. Okay, although you can use the extended part for the other 3 squares as well. I'll keep on reminding excuse me, I'll keep on reminding you. Okay, so I shall see you at the end of this round and the beginning of round number 2. Okay, so we are on to our next round, and we are going to be doing something similar to this, but just with a very, very slight variation at the beginning here, and here, and here, and here. No, I'm only joking. I'm joking. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of carry on this pattern. We're just going to extend it a little bit, all right? So our next 2 rounds are going to be very similar, except for extra chain here and there. So before I go on, should I give you a Cape Town weather update? It's a beautiful day. It's going to be very, very hot. So it's 7:30 in the morning, and I am already here at my desk. Well, I shouldn't say my desk really, because it's my work table. I do have a desk, but this is not it. Okay, look at me going on, yada yada yada. So now we're going to begin in our chain 1 space. You can choose any corner, and the reason I'm fastening, even though I'm using the same colors, and the reason I'm fastening off each time is in case you want to use different colors. Okay, so now, because you can use, you can use different colors for each round. So we're going to start with a standing single crochet, and then we're going to pretty much do exactly what we did before. Yarn over times 3, right, puff, chain 1, 1, 2, 3. All right, like that. Then we're going to chain 2, like so, right? So it's going to look like that. Yarn over, and we're going to work double crochet front post over our double crochet front post. Okay, and now we're not obviously going to work into separate spaces with our puffs. Sorry, I'm trying to get my 10 balls out here. Okay, so also I'm happy to report that the South African Defence Force, I think they've moved out of town. So we had a very, very noisy night last night because they had some sort of show on the beach, and we could hear cannons going and very loud noises and fighter jets, and oh my gosh, really, I don't see the point of all that stuff, honestly. They could rather use the money to help uplift the poor communities in South Africa, of which we have many. You know, why people are spending money on you know, war, instruments of war, I don't understand. Anyway, that's just my point of view. So now, that's why we crochet so we don't have to think about all these horrible things, or we crochet as therapy to deal with all of them. Anyhow, but the South African National Defence Force has gone somewhere else to make a noise, hopefully. So we've attached our colour B, alright, and now we're going to work again. So we've moved that tail out of the way, and I know it's always a little bit taily at this point, so we're going to work over our colour A, and we're busy here with our colour B. Right, so again, it's a little bit awkward when you begin, but it gets easier as you go along. Okay, so yarn over times 3. So now that's the only difference here, is that we're working our chain 2 and we're working into the space between our puffs from our previous round number 1. Alright, when I say previous round number 1, I am talking about the extension only. We are going to completely ignore the fact that we are continuing to extend high T, right? Okay, so I'm trying to think of some jokes to tell you. I have an aunt who lives 1,000 kilometers away from me. She is she is 86 years old. She's never had children, and she lives on her own. My uncle passed away many years ago, and we speak to each other almost every day on the phone. And she buys the daily newspapers where she lives, which is in on the our east coast, and she snips out the daily jokes and she keeps them. And when I was living in Europe, she used to send me the jokes in letters. But now she always tells me these jokes that she finds in the newspapers, and of course they are always dad jokes. And now I'm trying to remember some. She tells me jokes almost every day, and I always think I'm going to remember them, but I don't remember them. I forget them. It's funny like that. Some people can remember jokes. You know, you can present them with any subject and they will know a joke about it. And other people like myself, I hear a lot of jokes. My husband is also very funny and always telling me jokes. I just forget them. When I try and think about it, I think, oh, what was that joke? And then I don't remember. Weird. But I know the reason. It's because my head is full of crochet. Okay, so I'm just going to do this section with you. Alright, and then you'll see how easy it is. Right, so we're just sort of working a little braided row. You know, when you do these puffs into between, then you know it begins to look like a braid. And now we're going to work. It looks like we should do a treble here, but we're not going to do a treble, okay? So we're going to, with our color A, we're just going to work a double crochet. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to work between our 2 times 3 double crochets together, like that. And remember, I'm kind of forgetting here, remember to take your color B with you, okay? So as before, you're going to be working over your color B, alright, like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're not doing any chains between, you know, we're just working our 3 double crochets together like that, okay? So see, I was very naughty there. I'm going to go back and do that, but what you want to do is that, alright, is work over your strand like so, alright? Not like that, like that. Okay, so this is a super simple round. So you're just going to start with your puff, chain 1 puff, chain 2, double crochet front post, 2 puffs into the space between your next 2 puffs, and you're just going to repeat that, and your double crochet front post, and then working 2 times 3 double crochets together between your previous 2 times 3 double crochets together. You're just going to carry on all the way. So you're just going to basically mirror, you know, once you get to the end here, you're just going to mirror that side, you're going to repeat the corners, and then you're going to repeat everything. As I write it in the pattern, I do my little asterisk, stroke, asterisk, repeat. You're going to go all the way around, and when you get up this side, you're just going to slip, do a little slip stitch into the top of your beginning puff. So don't forget to do your chain 2s before. So you'll do your double crochet front post, chain 2, slip stitch into the top of your puff. Okay, and then I shall see you at the beginning of round number 3, which we're going to do exactly the same with just a slight change, but I will start that with you. Okay, so see you at round number 3. 3, yes? Okay. Okay, so before we go on, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of round number 3, because round number 3 we aren't going to do a video for it because it's super duper easy, okay? So, or I'm not going to do the video and you're not going to follow the video. So for round number 2, what we did was just slip stitch into the top of our first puff, right? And now for round number 3, we're going to do pretty much exactly the same as we did for round number 2, okay? We're going to start with a puff, chain 1 puff into our chain 1 corner space from the previous round. Then we're going to work 3 chains. 3, okay? So here we had 1, 2, 3. So we're working 3 chains there. All right? And then what we're going to do is we are going to do pretty much exactly what we did in our round number 2. Double crochet front posts, 2 puffs in between our previous 2 puffs, double crochet front post, 2 puffs into our previous, double crochet front post, so on and so forth. We're going to carry on. So the stitch count is going to be exactly the same. And then we're going to do exactly what we did in our round number 2. We're going to work 2 times 3 double crochets together into the space between. Okay, and you're just going to carry on like that. And when you get here, you're just going to mirror that side, including the corners. All right, and then work your way around. So the stitch count is going to be exactly the same, except for your chain 3s. You're going to have 2 times. Each corner is going to have, well, corner. It is a corner, I suppose, although I'm calling this the corner, but this little section here. So your sides are going to have exactly the same stitch count, but you're going to have 2 times chain 3s, 1 on this side and 1 on that side. Okay, so that is basically round number 3. So I shall see you at round number 4. Okay, so for round number 4, I'm going to use my color A. Not that we're going to be using 2 colors here, but our color A was Dockham. And I'm going to just finish off this section with the Dockham. Okay, so we're going to start with a single crochet, standing single crochet, then we're going to do yarn over times 3, puff as we did before, and chain 1, and again 1, 2, 3, chain 1 to close. So we do yarn over times 3, chain 1 to close, chain 1, yarn over times 3, puff, chain 1 to close. Alright, and then we're going to work 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, and then we're going to work a double crochet front post over our first double crochet front post. So you're going to have that going on, right? And then we're going to work so it's a bit tricky. So of course I had to go in somewhere where my yarn, I kind of ran out of yarn there. That's why the tail is sort of sticking out, because I just made it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, so you're going to have to kind of creep in underneath there, and we're going to work a double crochet front post. Right, and another double crochet front post over the next one. So we're working double crochet front posts over all of our stitches, all right, until we get to our 2 times 3 double crochets together. Right, you just got to be patient here. So did, sorry, I'm just going back and making sure that I did a double crochet front post and not a half double crochet front post. Okay, right, front post, right, so front posts all the way. Right, so another easy peasy round, other than this finicky little part here. Right. Going to go all the way. I can hear my neighbor's garage excuse me, garage door going up, so you know he's going to be coming past on his motorbike any second now. So let's see if I can finish this before he starts his motorbike. Right, and then you're going to work a double crochet front post over our next double crochet front post like that. So it's going to look like that. And now you're going to work half double crochet front posts over all of your 3 trebles together, I mean 3 double crochets together, like that. Okay. Right, so you're just going to go along like that all the way until you get to your next double crochet front post, and then like that. Okay, so you're just going along. Oops, and there he goes. See all the little sounds of the neighborhood. Well, anyway, I'll just stop the video right there while he goes past. Okay, so as I was saying, you're going to work, I've just went back to the beginning of this little section, and you're just going to work half double crochet front posts over all of your 3 double crochets together. So you're just going to work right. So I'm not going to carry on because it's very, very simple. Alright, so it's going to look like that. So this side, it is going to form a little bit, you know, it's going to be a little bit higher than this side, but that's, don't worry, you know, I sort things out. Okay, so 1 puff, chain 1, 1 puff, chain 4, double crochet front post, 1 double crochet front post over next 2 puffs. Repeat, 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 repeat. 1 double crochet front post, half double crochet front posts over all 20, 3 double crochets together. Okay, and then basically when you get to that side, you're just going to mirror the sides. You're going to repeat the corners and then repeat the whole lot. Okay, and when you get to the end of your round number 4, you're just going to work a slip stitch into the top of your puff and fasten off. Okay, and that is the end of round number 4. Okie dokie, and we are on to round number 5, and round number 5 is an indie round. So by now you'll know what an indie round is. If you've never done any of my other patterns and for some reason you're using this extension on a completely unrelated square and you've never come across these sort of indie rounds that I like doing, then this may be new, but obviously what it is we are working this section as one complete piece. Okay, so it doesn't carry on around. Alright, so the back looks like that, so you can see how we've worked over our strands, alright, from our previous rounds, and the front looks like this. Alright, so now what as I mentioned before, with these extensions is that all the extensions will be designed so that they fit any of the 4 squares. Alright, so the 4 extensions can be mixed and matched and you can use them on any of the 4 squares, and so the sort of attaching part, because I'm going to finish the 4 squares off in such a way that they are almost identical. Okay, so you know, if I say work into round 49 of your square, it will apply to any of the 4 squares. Okay, if that makes sense. So the color I'm using is the Armorland, and I'm carrying on with the color that we used in round 49 of our big square, like that. Okay, and the reason I'm carrying on with that is so that you have this effect. Alright, so like that, you know, so you go, you know, when you see the overall picture, this will sort of follow on from that round number 49. In fact, it looks like it's the next round number 50, but in fact we're working into the corner chain space between round, so that's round 49, that's round 50, like that. right, so we're working into that space over there. Okay, so what we're going to do is, sorry, I have the pattern already written out, so I'm just busy clicking on it, but of course my computer is behind me, so if you hear my voice sort of receding into the distance, you know why. So I'm just checking my round numbers. I always double check just to make sure, because it's quite easy to get a little bit confused. Okay, so now what you're going to do is find this whole situation over here where we've done our chain 2, 3, we've done our chain, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is actually super duper easy to do, but there are a few little sort of oddities, you know, because you're going to be mirroring sort of one side and you're going to be working backwards, so it's going to seem a little bit strange. Okay, so now we are going to go all the way down to our round number 49, and we're going to be working into that chain 1 corner space that we worked our round 50 over. Right, so that's where we're working, like so. Okay, and now we are going to attach our color with the chain 1, and then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in essence we have 5 chains that side. Okay, but I'm not counting the first one as a stitch. So in the pattern I will say 4 chains, you know, after your beginning and your ending single crochet. So now we're just going to pull that tail to the back, because you don't want to get all confused and everything, lots of tails flying around. Now you're going to scoot on over all the way to your chain 1. So this was your chain 1 before your puff, your corner puff, and the round for that is round number 1. So we're working, so this was the last, when we finished our block, these were the last 2 puffs. So now this is basically the first 2 puffs of our extension. Okay, and so basically that is round 1 of the extension and color A. So because we worked our color A and color B together, maybe I'm over explaining things. So now what you're going to do is, so we've got our 3 strands at the back, and you do want to incorporate the first one, so you're going to do that. So we're working over that chain 1 plus that first strand, and you're just going to work a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and then we'll work 3 double crochets. Right, excuse the squeaky yarn, but it is stinking hot here and sort of everything is perspiring. Alright, so it's going to look like that. So you're going to have that chain 3 and your 3 double crochets. Now you're going to go up a rung, and you're going to make sure, so now this is what I wanted to show you, and I should have actually checked beforehand. Alright, make sure that you're only going over one of those strands and not the first one and the second one. Right, so we're doing our chain 3. Just make sure, because they're quite little, you want to make sure you're going over. So it's maybe just as well that I made that mistake, because now I can show you. Right, 1, 2, 3. You might have to check. There we go. Okay, so we've worked over that first strand. Now you're going to go into your chain 2 space. So we're going one round up. Okay, we're going to do exactly what we did here. We're going to work a single crochet over our chain 2 space and our next strand. And again, they're so finicky, they kind of move, so you've got to maybe use your fingers to just kind of identify which one. There we go. Okay, it does get easier. Okay, so we've done our single crochet over that. We're going to chain 3, yarn over. Okay, be careful you don't get your next strand. Alright, we're going to chain 1, 2, 3. Right, then we're going to go up and we're going to work into our chain 3. So we're kind of moving up as if we're going up a step ladder. We're going to single crochet over that chain 3 plus our last strand. Okay, then we're going to chain 3 and we're going to do exactly what we did before. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do exactly what we did before into our chain 4, but obviously we only had 3 strands, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to yarn over. So we've arrived at our final round, our round number 4, alright, of the extension, and we're going to work into that chain 1 space. We're going to make a popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you know, as I was saying, at some point stitches are all very basic, kind of basic crochet stitches. Okay, so now we've chained 1 to close. We're going to chain 2. That's our new corner, chain 2, and we're going to work a popcorn on the other side. And sorry about, you know, everything's noisy in my world, including the yarn. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're doing 5 double crochets, popcorn. Now, this is why I was saying it's a bit weird, because now we're working in reverse. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to work 3 double crochets first into our chain 4. Did I say chain 3? I meant chain 4 on the other side. Okay, then so we've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 3 and we're going to single crochet back into our chain 4. Now what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to go into our chain 3 and we're going to grab that first strand like that. Okay, so now just make sure that you're working not over your chain 4, right? So we're pulling, you know, we're pulling the chains forward like that. And you're going to work 1, 2, 3. So just make sure you've got the right strand again. Yep, I got the right strand. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet back over that strand and that chain 3. Yarn over and move down to your chain 2 and just do 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Make sure you're working, yep, making sure that we're working into our strands as we should be, right? So you do 3 double crochets into the chain 2, chain 3, single crochet back into the chain 2, right? Yarn over, and now we're back to our chain 1 and our first strand. So we're just going to grab them and we're going to work 3, so 3 double crochets. It's good to use your fingers at the back here. You know, if your fine motor coordination is quite good, you use your fingers, you know, use all these, make them work, make them pay rent. Okay, just to differentiate your little chain steps, you know, as I call them. You're going down the steps and up the steps. So we've done our 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 3 and we're going to single crochet back like that over our chain 2 plus the strand. Then we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and now we're just going to remove our hook from the yarn, and then we're going to attach it like that with a single crochet. But we're not finished yet. Alright, now you're going to yarn over and you're going to work 1, 2, 3, a yarn over times 3 puff. You can actually make it a yarn over times 4 or even a 5, but I'm going to use a 3. And that's basically how you're going to finish it off. So you're just going to hang on there, don't remove your hook. Alright, and you're going to snip off, pull through like that. Right, and now you're just going to pull, so you're just going to go up into the next color there, you know, just over that. You're going to pull your tail to the back like that. Then if you turn your work to the back, so the way that I'm attaching this, so because it's an independent round, you want to make sure it never comes adrift. You're just going to work, so you're just going to gently tighten and make a double knot there, and then with your tails you can actually work your tails into the sides like that, and they'll completely disappear. Okay, and people look at your crochet and they'll wonder how you did that. Because it might look like it's part of a continuous round, but in fact they are independent little things going on here. Alright, and then, you know, just pull your little petals out like that. Right, give your, so there we go, and they lie beautifully flat, and that is your independent round. I think you can have a lot of fun with that. Okay, so I hope that wasn't, as I was saying, it's actually really easy when you really just sort of apply, you know, if you really just sort of concentrate with the first one, you'll see that it's quite logical, you know, how you move up from the chain 1 to the chain 2 to the chain 3 to the chain 4, how you go across, and then how you work in reverse and then work a puff just to finish it off like that. Okay, so round number 5, indie round using Armoulant, done and dusted. I shall see you at round number 6.